It's that time again, Grant.
Oh, is it?
It's that time again.
All right.
It's time to make beef ravioli from scratch live on the internet.
Ew.
No, actually, it's time for the podcast.
Oh, jeez. I was like, I think I came to the wrong meeting.
Do you know how to make beef ravioli?
Doesn't everyone?
I don't. I mean, I assume that you just buy like those like wonton wrappers and then you just shove ground beef in there.
Just stuff it in.
Yeah, that's all.
Fist it right in there.
Sure, I've seen Gordon Ramsay talk. I know how to make beef ravioli.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, this incredibly off-the-cuff intro to the Rage Select Podcast. I am Jeff.
And I'm Grant.
Grant, you're on the podcast this week.
I am.
It's been a while. It's like I have a huge number of people now to be able to rotate through, so it's like I don't have to keep busting everybody's balls.
And this one's going to be a fun podcast.
Yeah.
Because you and I are both not feeling well.
Yeah.
We're having a sick off, basically.
Yeah, we're both a little out of it today, folks. So if things get a little zany, I can apologize in advance.
We've both been sipping the cough syrup heartily.
Well, I haven't. I've been sipping the coffee and Red Bull. That is cough syrup, though, right?
In a way.
Okay.
I don't know if that's good for you.
All right, so I'm going to give you a pro tip.
Okay.
All right. Never try to make an alcoholic beverage by mixing raspberry pucker and Red Bull. Because what you come back with is essentially alcoholic Robitussin. It tastes exactly like cough syrup, but it's incredibly alcoholic. And when you throw up...
Wait, Robitussin, that's a good one.
I don't know.
Robitussin's, Dimetap's the one I don't really care for.
Okay, so in the 90s, I was a teenager in the 90s, so I had access to name brand drugs. I knew this girl one time where I was hanging out with her on a Friday night, and her thing, because we were too young to drink, was she would go to the store and buy a whole thing of NyQuil liquid caps, and then just take 12 of them at the same time.
Damn.
And get real fucked up on them, and I was just like, we're going to the hospital before night.
Yeah.
But we didn't.
She's probably not alive by now.
I don't even remember her name, so I don't know. It's possible.
Yeah, that's a problem. Well, Jeff.
Yes.
I got to ask you, Mr. Big Man.
What's that?
You had a big week this last weekend.
I had a big hour and a half last weekend.
You, my friend, along with Mr. Murphy, were on Geek and Sundry, little podcast during South by Southwest at the Gaming Expo here in Austin, Texas.
Yep. That I was. I got to warm up the seat that Felicia Day sat in.
That's
once
right.
I left.
You got to her butt was where your butt was.
Her butt has touched the warmth of the radiant heat that my butt injected into that chair.
You also got to pass by her.
Yeah.
There was a light brushing of shoulders.
No.
I looked over. She was sniffing your hair when you weren't looking.
None of that happened.
Yeah.
None of that happened. I didn't listen to their stream. It was just the whole time. She's like, and who was that guy that was on here before? No,
this seat is incredibly cold for him sitting on it.
Does
he have an ice butt?
Is there a human ass on this seat? What the fuck?
Does he have ice packs in his pants? I don't understand it.
Yeah, that was a trip. It was great because I think, it wasn't obviously my favorite part, but I loved this part. So this last week, we went to the South by Southwest Interactive, and we were on with Geek and Sundry, but on our way in was the best part, right? So I went and I parked, and we were supposed to be there at noon, it's fucking terribly early for me. I don't get up until 1:30, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just Jeff bitching. But so I was walking up. It's I hadn't had any coffee. I just managed to get everything. I bought a bunch of new clothes. I got a haircut, and blah, blah, blah.
You were looking pretty dapper, actually, I got to say.
I was walking up to the front, and I was like, oh, there's Grant Davis. And Grant came up. And I wonder, this is an axiom that just keeps getting affirmed the longer that I'm alive. There was a huge line of people in front of the convention center waiting to get in. They were just lined up.
I saw that line, and I was like, shit, I'm going to be waiting forever.
And I just walked up to the front, and I was like, hey, we're supposed to be on Geek and Sundry. And they're like, where's your badges? I'm like, I don't have a badge, but we're going to go in. And she's like, yeah, just fucking go in. I don't care. And I was like, all right, Grant's with me. He's coming in, too. And she's like, yeah, fucking shut up. And
Grant? The Grant Davis? That's what she said.
From
the bad boy of podcasting?
The Beerus, the TV dudes, the greatest drug stories ever told, the League of Extreme...
So I signed her titties. She wanted it.
Yeah, you mean
Walked
Grant
right
from the Rogues Gallery Comics and Games trailer or commercial?
with that big meaty bulge between his thighs. That's me.
But no, I'm like, okay, it's a thing that people say all the time, and the longer I live, the more true it is. If you look a certain way, and you just like come rolling up into somewhere, and just kind of like you're cool, like you're totally supposed to be there. You're not asking permission or anything. You're just like, I'm going in there, and they'll be like, but sir, I'm going in there.
I'm a very important person.
You can kind of get away with that, especially at something like South by Southwest that's so fragmented, it's so all over the place.
Confidence sells, man.
It really does.
I've been able to murder like 4 or 5 people and just be like, no, they needed to die. And I was like, man, he's really confident about that. I guess that person did need to
It's
die.
weird. You guys should look up the Court TV videos. It's a very strange defense. He does a southern accent for some reason.
I believe this guy needed to die.
Your Honor,
I reckon it was more Foghorn Leghorn. I guess.
Yeah, more Foghorn Leghorn than Matlock, really. But yeah, we got to go on there, and you guys, you Rage Select fans, came into the chat, and basically everybody that was on that show was just like, "What's a dong lord? What's ding dong mean? Who's Marsden?" And I'm just like,
is this just a site of inside jokes?
Right.
Is that all this site is?
I'm kind of
banana bread.
Yeah,
banana bread.
I'm starting to think that might be our MO, is that we just keep developing inside jokes until the point, like, why do they keep saying poopy, and be like, or what's throw a brick at it mean? Or you just go, yeah.
You just need to change your name from Rage Select to Inside Joke.
Inside Joke. Welcome to InsideJoke.com. I am Jeff. I'm sure there's already an InsideJoke.com. I would look it up.
It's got to be.
But yeah, we were on there for a little while. We got to talk with there was a couple folks. For the love of God, I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the lady that had us there. Not a lot of people know this about me, Grant, but I actually have a pretty terrific amount of stage fright.
Yeah, you were super anxious.
Like, it's no big deal when I'm in the comfort of the Rage Select podcasting enclave where we are right now. The whole that you go down the fire pole to get to in my basement with the Batmobile and the giant penny. But
that is a massive penny.
When I'm out in the world, it's actually a peso.
Is that? It was like it's like twice the size of a regular penny.
Yeah. But when I'm out in the world, like if I have to like stand up in front of people, I get really nervous, and I always have. And doing this job has done nothing to alleviate that, because it's just you and me, or me and somebody else sitting in my room screaming dick jokes into the microphone.
Yeah, so it's not, you don't feel like you've had the performance in front of an audience practice.
The worst thing that could possibly happen is that I could get freaked out. You could just
delete it.
And delete a video.
He's done this before, folks. He's gotten in his own head and been like, we got to redo it. I'm like, I don't think we do. And you're like, yeah, it's gone.
There's like four Jeff versus beers that nobody has ever seen, because when I go back to watch them, I'm like, oh, God.
It's probably for the best.
Nobody wants to see this. Just one of them, I think I just stopped playing, put the controller down, and spent like 20 minutes just rambling directly into the camera about how people should love each other or something. I don't even know what it was. But anyway, it seemed to go all right, except for the fact that I feel like, I don't know if this ever happens to you as a podcaster, Grant, but we were on there, and it was very tempting, because I host all the shows. I don't
just to go off the rails.
No, I don't want to conflate my own ego, but it's like I've been doing this for so long that whenever I'm if I go on, when I was on TV Dudes, right? Sometimes I have to make like a concerted effort to make sure that I don't try to take whatever I'm on away from the person, because everything that we do here, like, I'm kind of the host of, right?
Yeah,
so,
it's important to try and follow their lead and their format to a certain extent.
Right.
However, you are in a format where they want you and your personalities for not just like a 5-minute interview. They wanted you there for an hour or so.
It was about, an hour, 90 minutes, something like that?
You were there for about an hour, I think.
Okay.
I mean, you were there for an hour and a half for the 30-minute setup as well.
Yeah. But it was fun. It was kind of cool. It made me, you know what it really made me want to do is whenever E3 happens, there's like 4 or 5 different websites that are big enough that instead of like going out on the show floor and looking at stuff, they buy booth space and then sit in there and then bring the developers on to their own couch and do stuff. So they get to sit in the middle of a trade show and bring the show to them instead of having to go out and pound the pavement, etc.
Yeah, it's kind of awesome.
And it was cool because it was like just sitting there watching all the people walk by, and they're all looking at us like, well, who are these people? What are they doing? And yeah, it was cool.
So like Allison and I were there. John and Amanda ended up showing up.
Yep.
And we all kind of hung out over to the side. I tried to walk by a couple times, like look in the camera.
Yeah.
But we were like really close, but I couldn't hear a thing from you guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so I ended up going back and watching some of the video, and then I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting. Like you were interviewed by the first lady for a bit.
Yeah.
And that seemed a little bit more like a formal interview that she was trying to conduct with you guys.
Right.
And it was okay, but it also seemed like maybe you guys were having a little trouble hearing on either side, I guess.
Well, that's another thing people don't really know about me. I have terrible hearing.
Yeah.
Like at a bar or in a convention setting, my hearing is just awful.
That coupled with I think maybe there was a couple like inside jokes initially that were, maybe it's a product of Rach like being on the chat that seemed like it was like, oh, I don't really fully follow.
Right.
But then the Malik guy came on.
Yeah.
And like y'all just like all clicked very well. It was really funny. Like
it was cool.
All of a sudden it was like the energy kind of shifted, and you guys talked a lot about porn.
Yeah.
A lot about porn.
Jason brought it up. All right, like that's the thing.
Jason loves porn.
Jason loves porn.
Known fact.
It was cool. I think we want to try. I mean, I got that guy's business card. I got Malik's business card, and we talked about having him on the podcast. So I don't know. Maybe sometime Jason and I'll like Skype him into a podcast or something. But
yeah, very cool.
But that was cool. And then after that, I got to walk around and look at stuff, and so did you. I think so did everybody, right?
Yeah.
What did you look at? Did you look at anything in particular that you thought was interesting?
I looked at this one game, which was this like iPad game that was kind of neat. It's like this percussion based one. You have to follow a rhythm, and you blast these aliens as they're coming at you. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of cute and fun.
Yeah. That was like right around the corner from where we were. Right?
That was on the back wall.
Okay. There was I tell you what, this show was like Indie Game City, right?
Yeah,
like,
there was a ton.
There was, I think that like there was a game called Dreadnought that they were showing off at the Intel booth, which is a bigger game, but that's like a medium tier game, right? But I mean, I didn't see, there was nothing there on the like Batman or Bloodborne or Battlefield Hardline. I mean, there was nothing there that was one of those big convention show games, right? Which was
plus that's good. You don't need it.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I mean, I kind of like it sometimes when they have some of those things as a centerpiece. I do know they have that. Did you run by the Game Church? I want you to do an interview next year with Game Church.
No,
it's like I don't know what it's all about, but I know that they've got pamphlets on the front of it. It's like,
oh, is that the Jesus plays video games
controller? Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Well, what else did you play?
I mean, I don't recall playing anything else in particular.
Okay.
I know that at a certain point there were so many people in there that I just got really overwhelmed. I don't like a big crowd of people at these conventions. I don't like having to really accommodate my walking speed for these massive crowds of mouth breathers that are just
and
drooling everywhere and getting us sick.
Children everywhere.
And kids.
Just children all over the place.
I can handle kids being slow and awkward.
Right.
I can't handle the adults also being slow and awkward moving through the crowd. I'm just like, just move.
Yeah.
Get out of my way.
Yeah.
So that I got a little crabby, and I think I left earlier, but then
Yeah. Well, I was going to give you a ride, and then it was funny because we met up after we got done with the panel.
Yeah.
And then it was like, that was the last time I saw anybody. Like, you left, John and Amanda left. Allison and Jason, I think I was walking
smoke
one
bomb.
way,
Gotta
saw
get out.
them another, and I kept hanging around because originally they had said like once Felicia Day is done, we're just kind of shooting from the hip, so maybe you guys can come back and be on. And then at a certain point, I was like, it's been like 2.5 hours, and so I called Jason. Was like, are you even still here? And he's like, nah, man, I left like 20 minutes ago. And I was like, oh, okay, well then I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Because I knew that if I left, that it would be as soon as I got far enough away from the Palmer Event Center, I was going to get a text message like, where are you? We're going back on right now. And I knew that was going to be the case. But you know what? I was kind of pissed because I walked back by and I saw fucking Felicia Day messing with a Gear VR headset.
Ooh.
And I was like, son of a bitch, I've wanted to try one of those things out for a while now.
I wanted to VR with her.
Yeah. That whole that whole thing was lousy with VR. There was just VR all over the place.
I know, and I didn't try any of it.
You didn't try any of it?
No.
Well, I can.
You have one here.
I get the bucket out if you want to throw up again.
Yeah, if you want me to be sick, I'll just try it here.
I mean, I was
puke on a convention floor.
Really trying to see if they had the HTC Steam Valve one that they announced like last week, but obviously that was too new for them to be there. I mean, and to be honest, when I say there was a lot of VR there, what I mean was like there actually wasn't.
It was all the Oculus, right?
It was all the Oculus, but it was all Oculus DK2 dev kits, like what I've got here.
Yeah,
being run with software that people were trying to pimp out, right?
I saw there was a massive line for like a Star Wars one where these people also had these little hand devices. And it looks like they're, I guess, moving around a lightsaber. I couldn't really see what they were doing.
I didn't see that one. I'm not willing to wait in a massive line for VR. But what does piss me off is the fact that every like 48 hours, Grant, I go on the internet and I have a bunch of different places that I can go to find every new piece of VR content that has come out, because if it's out, I want to see it. I want to check it out on the Oculus. These people are all making these demos, and none of them are releasing them in a way that like I can get access to them, which is weird to me, because like I can understand if you're working on a game, right, and you've got a demo, not putting it out to the public if it's just like a PC game, but this is a very specific thing, and the people that have gone out of their way to buy VR headsets, like me, are like, we're the ones who won't shut up about it. We're proselytizing.
You're their early adopters.
Exactly.
They need you.
So I wish, because at this point, I feel like there really needs to be more full video games that take advantage of VR that you can play from start to finish with the headset on.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of demos, but there aren't that many of those, and I would like to see more of them. Well, anything else? What else did you see?
I went to the Game of Thrones exhibit.
Okay.
Which, speaking of VR, if you can find, last year they did a Game of Thrones
with
thing.
the wall, right?
Yeah, the wall.
Totally not anywhere.
Yeah, that'd be cool if you
know
could
the
pull that
Interstellar one? Not anywhere.
Oh yeah, I didn't check that one out. But the Game of Thrones exhibit this year was really cool.
Cookie Monster was there?
No. Well, the Cookie Monster was over at the convention center. But at the Game of Thrones exhibit, they had this one particular thing. They had the throne, of course. They always have that.
Right.
And they have the Almagang beer that's like being matched up. It was like some sort of dark saison. I don't remember what it was, actually.
What are you saying? Are those English words?
This is beer stuff. They have beer.
Okay.
But
they had some beer.
they had this line for this like customized poster you could do.
Okay.
And you wait in line, you go up, and you sit on this chair where they take a photo of you, a side profile photo of you.
Right.
And then they'll do it 3 at a time, 3 people at a time. Take your photo, and then they project these photos up on this giant screen on this stage, and you each go to your respective projected photo on this screen.
Okay.
You pick up a wooden sword that they have placed out in front of it.
Okay.
And then it's basically like you play Fruit Ninja in front of your silhouetted head. And these rocks, these gray rocks will come out in front of your head, and you chop at them. And when you break them open, different
Candy?
elements kind of break. It was candy.
No, it wasn't. It was a raisin.
Dude,
fuck that. When it's raisins, that's just the worst.
Yeah, it was the dentist. It was just like floss and
Fuck
shit.
you, Sunmaid. Fucking up pinatas. Oh, God. Okay.
Ruining it for kids. It was those lame-ass marshmallow peanuts.
What an obscure,
no one wants those.
What an obscure reference. Does anybody even do pinatas anymore? And if they do people still try to put raisins in them for a healthy alternative? What the fuck am I talking about? Anyway, you hit the rocks.
You hit the rocks, and it would break into either like a cluster of feathers or a cluster of like antler horns or a bunch of swords.
Right.
And they kind of spread out based on the direction you hit them.
Okay.
And then it gets a little complicated describing
this. What the fuck is going on?
So you're breaking apart all these rocks. Right. They're kind of pinataing out this stuff onto the screen, overlaying your head.
Okay.
And as they build up and accumulate, it kind of does a double exposure, process of your face and whatever was laying over top of your face in order to make a final image of your silhouette with these images overlaying it.
Okay,
and they give you this poster at the end. It was just so cool. It was like,
did you do it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the line wasn't even that bad to wait for it. I mean, it sounds a little weird, but you can look at demo videos online if you guys are interested in this.
Cool.
It was just, it seemed like Game of Thrones did what you kind of want South by Southwest to do, where it integrates like interesting technology with this kind of marketing aspect of
It
their
gives you
product.
a unique experience.
And a unique experience, yeah. Just all of it rolled in one. It was really fun.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah, I'm sure that it must be like, I don't know, you took your daughter to South by Southwest. I saw you had a whole bunch of pictures of that, right? Is it like, I mean, do you get, like, is that whole axiom of walking into a place like you're supposed to be there, like, doubly so if you have a child in tow, where you're just like, I got to go in there. We got to go in there.
I couldn't access like anything except for the free stuff.
Oh, okay.
I went to a little barbecue, G&E barbecue thing that my wife happened to get tickets she registered for early.
Oh, okay.
But that was about it. Otherwise, we were just kind of walking around near the free stuff, like because the whole city's taken over for anyone who hasn't been to it. It's kind of neat, although I describe South by Southwest as the mullet of festivals because it's all tech business stuff in the front,
right,
and it's all the music party stuff in the back.
Yeah.
And the second weekend is all the music festival.
Yeah, this week, I mean, technically speaking, this week is when all the music is going down. Yeah, I haven't been to a South by in quite a while. Well, I tell you what, I played a few games.
Okay.
So I want to kind of just run down those real quick and tell people about them. I got to play a game called Hyperlight Drifter, which is
I saw some of that
Kickstarter that's very much kind of like it's very much a Zelda kind of game.
Okay.
It's like a top-down slashing, but then you've also got a gun that you can shoot. It's very stylized. It's very early on, or it's fairly early on in development. Frame rate was a little meh, but very stylish and very cool. I can't wait to play. Actually, you know what? That's totally a theme this year. Was like every other game was a pixel-based game. Every other indie game that was there was like some kind of pixel, like it was a 16-bit retro-style game.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just
there's something about like the color palette that felt a little muddy in the Hyperlight game.
Hyperlight Drifter?
Yeah, there's something a little pastel, and I don't know. I like overall, I wasn't as taken with the visual element because I've seen it done a bunch of other places as well.
In all honesty, I mean,
something seemed a little lazy about it.
From their Kickstarter video that they made,
yeah.
I don't know if they didn't have if they had. It's like the demo that they had was very, very slow. Like it took a while to get to or you would go into a room and it would transition to a new room and there would be like one enemy in there, right? And you go to another room and there'd be like another enemy, and then you go to another one and there'd be like two of the same enemy that you just got done fighting. So it's probably very early on in their development. I don't know. I think it's an interesting game, and I really want to play it when it comes out. It's just sometimes, there's a whole thing that you get into about, people have to go to shows and show their games in order to drum up interest for them. But if it's too early, then you can actually end up
shooting
doing
yourself
damage,
in the foot.
right, by doing that.
By getting some judgy bitch like me going, I don't know about the colors.
That's my Grant impression, by the way.
Mine too. We both know what I sound like.
So let's see. I also played this game that's really interesting called Zombie Night Terror. Okay.
Okay.
Now, Zombie Night Terror it drew my eye. Like, I was walking by it and I was like, "Hello."
These gotta be foreigners that came up with this title, right?
Yes.
Zombie Night Terror, Dracula, Monster Blood.
I'm pretty sure that the guy,
just throw in a bunch of
the guy who
words.
made it had some kind of very heavy accent, and I talked to them for a few minutes. But basically, it's not even on Steam. It's nowhere yet, right? But what it is it's like a very black and white game, right? And it's all pixel art based. And what it is that you've got you can see there's a game called This War of Mine that you didn't get a chance to play that's similar, but it's like a cross section, right? You're looking at a house in profile, right?
Okay.
So you can see all the rooms inside of it that have toilets and stuff, and stairs and stuff, and there's people inside of them. Well, then you are able to essentially, you have a bunch of different powers, and you can take a person and turn them into a zombie. And then when they turn into a zombie, they'll try to run down the people that are in that house automatically and kill them. Like, you don't have any direct control over the zombie. It just goes for whatever the nearest thing is, right? And when you eat them, it gives you first they turn into a zombie after a few minutes, but then you also get there's a little DNA meter on the right that goes up, so you can change your zombies from like regular zombies to running zombies to big zombies or exploding zombies. And then you can actually, it's like there'll be these little arrows on it where like they're walking, and if they walk up to a stairs that go up, you can flip this little arrow from up the stairs to left to right. So you can. It's like Lemmings, kind of in that way.
Okay.
You can kind of let them
Like
go.
Lemmings are. It sounds a little tower defense in a way too.
Right.
You're equipping these different little zombies.
No, not so much tower defense.
No, I think I was dead on with that comparison.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure that's what it is, Jeff.
Yeah, it's a fact.
But then
I talked to Dimitri. That's what he said.
randomly throughout the game, you'll have then there'll be some of the survivors will have like melee weapons or guns, and they will kill your zombies like super fast. So you have to really, it's kind of a stealth game in that of trying to like build up enough credit so that like if your zombies happen upon somebody who has a gun, then you can turn that person into a zombie to make sure they don't kill all your people. And there are traps that you have to try to avoid them with. Like there's one called a zombie controller that you can mutate them into that'll make them stop and go in the opposite direction, like Lemmings. Pretty cool. Very early. Very early in development, but it has a lot of potential. Let's see. There was another one that I played at.
What was that black and white one where you have the flashlight? Oh, I think someone or Jason was saying that you and John played it on like a Savage Tits, maybe. It was like it's all black and white in this Victorian house, and you have flashlight, and based on how you shine it over these different parts of the room.
White Knight. We played on Indie
White
Friday.
Knight.
Oh yeah, that was there.
Yeah,
I remember having a really crappy mental. Like mentally, I was super crappy when I saw that. I was like, "Bitch, I already played that. The game's already out. Show me some new shit. Come on."
I remember that was the first I saw it because I don't pay attention to the website, and I was like, "Oh, that looks cool."
So let's see. I also got to play a game called Salt and Sanctuary.
Salt and Sanctuary. Mm-hmm. What is this one about?
Basically, okay, so I don't know if you remember this, right? But there was a... Do you remember when we were doing Sparkle Fandango, you and Allison played a game called Charlie Murder?
Yes.
There was a punk rock kind of beat 'em up.
I do remember that, yeah.
Okay, so that's made by Ska Studios, and their next game is called Salt and Sanctuary. And I actually heard about it before because it's a 2D medieval action game, but it cribs a lot from Dark Souls, basically. So it's got the same kind of stamina meter, and just the same way that you play Dark Souls. It's like just a 2D side-scrolling medieval action game, but it's got a lot of the same elements of Dark Souls in it. So it's got this stamina management and item descriptions playing into the plot quite a bit, and it looks kind of like Charlie Murder except medieval. And I had heard about it on a Dark Souls YouTube channel that I watch all the time. And so I got a chance to play it. It was great because I was watching some dude play it. He was having a hard time, and he was shitty at the game. And he got to the boss, and he died, and then he moved away. And then I sat there, and I was able to have, a very in-depth kind of, well, not in-depth, but just an interview, essentially, with the woman who's the co-creator over at Scott Studios. It's her and her husband. While I just kick that game's ass because I play so much Dark Souls. But it seems really cool. I recommend everybody go to check it out.
What's it called again?
Salt and Sanctuary.
Salt and Sanctuary.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's a lot like Dark Souls, but it's got some differences. But it's got a very much similar pacing, and it's all kind of gray and gloomy medieval kind of stuff. And it's got the same art style. Well, not exactly the same, but it's kind of the same overall aesthetic of Charlie Murder. And so that is a really that was one that I really liked. So then let's see. There was another one that I played that I'm trying to figure out the name of.
What was it kind of like?
Oh, here it is. At the Devolver Digital booth. So I don't know if you know this, Grant, but Devolver Digital is one of my favorite publishers.
Now I know.
Yep. They made Hotline Miami. They published Hotline Miami 2 that you played, right? Or they didn't make Hotline Miami. Denton did, but they published it. They published Broforce, right? They tend to pick up a lot of the cooler little indie games, and so I always like going to their booth, mostly because it's got a really plush red carpet in it that when your feet are on fire is nice. But this game called Ronin that is basically like a turn-based game where you play as like this kind of ninja with a motorcycle helmet on, but it's turn-based, so it's like you jump up in the air. I'm trying to show Grant a video of it right now. It's like you jump up in the air when you see an enemy, And then when you get into a fight, it's like every time you jump, the world stops, and you get to plot your next jump. So it ends up being more of like a puzzle game than an actual action game.
Oh, okay. Looking at the trailer for this, it looks badass.
So like you can see that you jump, like you'll jump, and then when you finish jumping, even if you're in the middle of like the air, it stops time, and you basically get to pick your next move. It's really cool.
The graphics kind of remind me a little bit of The Gods Are Watching.
They actually published that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
It actually, what I'd say is there's a game called Gunpoint that we played a long time ago. That it's an awful lot like Gunpoint, and it's an awful lot like Mark of the Ninja, which is a clay game where you play as a ninja. Really, really cool game. But yeah, I highly recommend everybody go check out Ronin. Everything else at the Devolver Digital booth I'd played before. So Titan Souls, Not a Hero. They had Hotline Miami 2 there, which again I was like, motherfucker, I beat that game yesterday. Come on, man,
get with it.
Yeah, bring your A game. All right, I'm gonna speed this up a little bit because we need to get to the news. I saw a game called, I think this is it, Camp Pinewood. No, Molasses Flood was the name of it. And this, they were giving out these little postcards. It's basically like an isometric game with this little girl in a camp that's trying to like survive by scavenging together stuff, kind of Minecraft style, and making traps and trapping people. It actually reminded me a lot of Don't Starve, except that you also get on a raft and kind of float down to the river to the next thing. You've got like a dog with you. Huh. It seemed really cool. I recommend everybody check it out. I just sat there and watched the trailer for it for a little while. Seems like something that, as long as they're not charging a shit ton of money for it, could probably be really nice when it comes out.
Yeah.
And then I watched a little bit of that Leviathan game, which is basically E3 last year. They had a trailer for it where this giant ship comes down, and basically it's like Team Fortress 2, except with giant-ass ships instead of people. So you pick a ship, and it's got a specific class, and it's got a specific role. It'll be like a sniper, or it'll be like a close-in combat or a support ship. And so Intel had a booth where they had a bunch of like really, really high-end Alienware PCs running this shit all tripped out. It was very pretty, very cool to watch. I kind of hoped that game was going to be like a single-player game, but I already knew that it was multiplayer. But then last but not least, I thought I got to get my hands, and I actually need to. I think I've only got another until, let's see, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, Star Citizen. You know Star Citizen?
Mm-mm.
This is okay. Yeah, it occurred to me that you might not have heard of this before. Chris Roberts is a guy here in town who there's an old. You remember the game Wing Commander from back in the old days? So he's like the guy who was. I think he was the head of Origin back when Origin was making like Wing Commander and Strike Commander and stuff like that here in town.
Isn't that Ultimate dude, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that has the big mansion, and he does that Halloween house.
No,
shit?
no. That's Lord British. That's Richard Garriott.
Okay.
Chris Roberts was mainly in the space stuff, right? So, 2 years ago or something, they launched a Kickstarter to basically make a new PC space combat game called Star Citizen, and they have a model where essentially you can buy stuff inside of the game before it's even out. I think you can like buy ships and trick them out and stuff like that. So far to date, they have raised, I think the last time I looked it up on the internet, was $69 million.
What?
And it's this huge game where you can fly around the universe. You can play it multiplayer, where you can have a ship with multiple different positions for your friends to come into and be a gunner or a navigator or something like that. There's a whole thing where you can land your ship and get out, and you play the game like a first-person shooter where you go in and blast on stuff, and then you can get in there and you can go around the galaxy all in a big MMO environment with other people. Sounds fantastic, right? I mean,
sure.
Sounds really cool. There's some people are, but it's been like so hyped that it's difficult to
live up to it.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult to even know whether or not there's any way that it could, if there's any way that the actual game itself could live up to what they're talking about, right? Well, I got a chance to play it. And there's a couple things that I can report on that I didn't know ahead of time. One is that the game is set up so that you can use it. You can play it with WASD and a mouse, so just a keyboard and mouse instead of having to have a flight stick. I did like a dog fight where I basically went in and was kind of flying around and shooting at people. It looks gorgeous.
Yeah, looking at this trailer here, wow.
Yeah, and the fighting was very much like It wasn't exactly freelancer, like it was still from a first-person cockpit perspective, but it's very pretty. The backgrounds were all pimped out, so it's like when you're dogfighting in like a asteroid field or something like that. So it's always got a bunch of stuff going on, and it was fun. It was very fun to play. It took a little
looks
bit.
Like they have the Serenity ship in there.
Oh, did that?
Yeah,
Well,
the one spaceship looks like the Serenity.
I just like the idea of being able to bring your friends in and fly on a ship with your friends, and then go places and get out of your ship and walk around. That's been a gameplay dream of mine for a long time. Now, whether or not this is actually going to end up being that, it looks real good right now, but the question that's always come up is, like, when you look at what this game is promising, it might be the sort of game that needs like a $250 million budget. And if they only have $69 million, is it really going to live up to the hype? Because every one of these trailers is just hyping the shit out of this game, right?
Yeah.
But what I played was a really good start. I mean, like, I got in a ship, I flew around, had fun shooting things. This is the whole perspective that I had. If they're able to take you from there down onto a planet, if you're actually able to get out, as long as there's content, hey man, this could be one of the greatest games I've ever played in my entire life.
Wow.
And so I hope that if they manage to get their shit together and that everything works the way that they say it's going to work, because anybody can make a pretty trailer, right? But if it all works the way that they say it's going to,
This is being developed here in Austin?
yeah. Yep.
Man, maybe we should go on a little field trip.
Robert Space Industries, yeah. I could contact them and be like, hey, I mean, I know that some of the fans have access to the early access, like the garage and stuff, and then this thing has like a voucher to basically install the game and play it for like a week, right?
What?
But I haven't done it yet because I've just been busy doing other stuff. So, like, it ends this Friday, so I
No
don't know.
excuses. Get in there.
Okay. Anyway, and that was mostly what I saw. I mean, I looked at some of the VR stuff over people's shoulders.
Sure.
Some of it seemed interesting. There was one that was like one person wears a VR headset, one person has like a tablet, and they both have different information. So the person with the VR headset is seeing a bomb that they have to defuse. The person with the tablet has instructions, and I think it was called like Talk or Die or something like that, where it's like one person has to tell the other person how to defuse the bomb.
Oh my God, we need to play that here.
Yeah, well, hey man, if any of this shit was available to download, we'd be doing all VR all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, after next week when Bloodborne comes out, because I'm going to be a little busy. Anywho, so that was my experience, and it was great. And I think we've now blathered on almost too long. So
let's do a news story and we're out.
We're going to go to the news, but first, before we do, I just want to take a second to be real shitty about this trailer that came out today for this movie called Pixels.
Oh, my God.
Adam Sandler, and it looks terrible. It looks terrible.
It's so cornball.
It looks so terrible.
Yeah.
It looks absolutely atrocious.
It looks like a joke. Like a joke of a movie that you see within some other movie when they're trying to make fun of it. Like, it should star, what's that dude from Scott Pilgrim? Jason Lee or whatever his name is? It should,
Chris Evans?
Chris Evans' character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Lucas Lee?
Lucas Lee. Yeah, it should
yeah.
star Lucas Lee in Pixels.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like, okay, so the basic premise is that a probe was sent out with some video games on it, and then some aliens basically took that as a declaration of war, so they made their warships look like Space Invaders. They made Pac-Man into a killing machine. They come back to Earth to destroy it. And for whatever reason, I don't know what their dumbass, stupid piece of shit reason is, but whatever the reason, it's like only Adam Sandler, Paul Blart, and Tyrion Lannister have the fortitude to be able to defeat these video game characters. I'm like, do you know how many fucking gamers there are in this world? They could get you and me and Jason, and we'd have better dialogue than what was in that fucking trailer.
I don't know. I can't guarantee that.
I mean, there was a part of this trailer where Donkey Kong is there, and he's throwing, and Adam Sandler's like, Donkey Kong, and then he goes to throw a barrel, and fucking Paul Blart is like, well, it's a barrel. How much could that hurt? I'm like, what the fuck? It would hurt a lot if it was a regular barrel and you got hit in the head with it. What the fuck?
It would kill you.
What are you talking
That
about?
barrel is bigger than your body.
What are you
Blart?
talking about?
It's alliteration for you.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm sorry. That game was, or that movie looks like garbage.
It looks like garbage.
It looks like absolute garbage. All right, on to the news stories.
News.
And this is good because we don't have a shitload of news this week. But
Okay.
the biggest thing that happened last week was that Nintendo announced that they're working on a new console codenamed NX. There's two different Nintendo announcements. This was the first one. No details. Apparently, there should be announcing in 2016, so we're probably not going to see or hear anything about it at E3 this year. And no details about whether it's a handheld or it's a like a PS4 style console. They just announced that they're working on something new, which I think is good because the Wii U has. I mean,
would this be their 10th console? Is that why NX?
I don't have any idea.
Nintendo X.
Let's see. Nintendo,
Yeah.
Super Nintendo, Nintendo
64, GameCube,
Wii U. That's 6.
Game Boy,
Game Boy.
Game Boy Color.
Well, the Game Boy, and then there was the Game Boy SP or whatever. The color, the new Game Boy, the one that was like the first of their new handhelds.
Okay.
Nintendo DS, Nintendo 3DS. But then the Virtual Boy is in there, so it'd be.
Let us not forget the Virtual Boy.
That's right. Nobody ever should forget about the Virtual Boy.
Least of all Nintendo.
And then there's all those Game & Watches. I don't know if they count as individual consoles, but
The Game Watches?
No, Game & Watch, the little original. Yeah, but that was before Nintendo. Yeah. No real. I mean, we can speculate wildly. What do you think, Grant? Are they going to put a dumb iPad attached to it? Are they going to make another motion controlled thing? Is it going to be VR? Are they going to make another, or are they just going to make like a PlayStation console?
I kind of hope that it's not even a console.
Yeah.
I hope they
It's
just
like a
kind of
sandwich or something.
they have like just some digital hub that now is new Nintendo World, and it like you don't have to buy a service rather than having to buy a console. It just operates through your internet service. No, I know. It's not going to be like that.
Well, no, I'm only shaking my head because we got the February NPD numbers, and the new 3DS and Majora's Mask like topped everything. Like they sold more 3DSs in February than PS4s. So like that was enough to.
So they're going to make another physical console.
Probably so. I mean, the Wii U hasn't been great for them, but then they've had. The GameCube wasn't the best-selling console of all time,
Here's what I'm thinking.
All right.
It'll be both a Nintendo console and a Roomba. So it'll go around and vacuum your floor whenever you're not playing it.
Okay. I'd buy that.
Yeah.
I need one of those. I need a Nintendo Roomba.
That'd be cool.
I need a regular Roomba. I mean, but yeah, precious little information about this. They just don't really have anything out there yet. There is, though, another announcement that they had that they're teaming up with this company called DENA, which is a big publisher of mobile titles, to start bringing original Nintendo IP to phones and mobile devices, essentially.
About time.
Yeah. And this is not, they said that it's not going to be ports of existing Nintendo titles, so it's not like they're going to take stuff and port it to your phone. It's supposed to be original stuff. And then there was a third.
Oh, what? No, I want the old stuff.
Oh, you just want to be able to play Super Mario Brothers on your...
That's all I want, yeah.
You could download like an NES emulator. I mean, I'm not...
Onto my phone?
Yeah.
Fuck
too much
that.
work.
Nintendo, I'll give you my money. Just do this.
The whole hardware development thing with the NX, if Nintendo made a phone, I'd buy it. All right? If they made a phone that was geared towards actually playing video games, I would totally buy it. I would do the same for any of the other companies. I know that Sony had this. It was, I forget what it was called, but it was like a cell phone that slid up like a PSP Go and then had a thing at the bottom. But like, I think I read an article last week that like the service that supported that is now being shut down because it was such a failure, and that if you bought anything, you better download it before we shut down the service, right? But if a company with like the balls of Nintendo. Or even, I mean, if Sony made a concerted effort, if somebody, that's one of the things that I feel is dramatically missing from the market, is a cell phone made by a company that knows how to make a portable game platform. So if there was something that was like a 3DS, except that the back of it opened up and it was a phone, I'd buy the shit out of that, because I would love to have something by an actual game manufacturer that was a phone and a real, honest-to-God video game platform at the same time. Because I still find that a lot of the phone games are not optimized very well, and they don't have good controls on them. And before people say it, I know that there was the N-Gage, but that was a giant hunk of living shit. So I heard. I never had one. Do you know about the Nokia N-Gage?
No.
There was a phone that was a handheld.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, didn't sell very well at all. Was very expensive. Had shitty games on it.
Yeah,
Or so
well,
I
maybe
hear.
everyone else is afraid to touch that market then.
Maybe so. Seems like that would be a real coup, though, right? I mean, like phone games make a shitload of money.
Yeah, but you have Apple and Android to compete against. Like, who wants to touch that market?
Well, if anybody was going to do it, I mean, Nintendo has probably had more success with their handhelds over the last 10 years than they have anything else. So they know how to make a handheld device that works. They also said that they're not going to be just straight up making like free to play games. They specifically kind of came out and said like, we may look at that, but we're trying to think about making actual honest to God like games that you spend $3 or $5 on instead of
We'd like the ones that make us money. Those kind of games. That's what we're gonna do. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Let's see. Windows 10 is going to be out this summer.
Woohoo!
Are you psyched, Grant? Are you
No.
Ooh,
I'm a
yeah.
Mac man.
I'm gonna install Windows. You got Boot Camp. You can put Windows 10 on there, right? No,
no, thank you.
you're full. Boy, you missed it last week. Kevin and I spent like 20 minutes complaining about the watch, the Apple Watch.
Oh, jeez. How much are they selling that for?
I think the lowest priced one is like $300.
Oh, I thought it was like 12,000 or some shit.
No, they have a gold and crystal one that they're selling for $15,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, they're all super expensive. But anyway, we did that last week. But yeah, Windows 10 is coming out this summer. And as previously reported on this show, the first year that it's out, it's going to be free to upgrade to. But therein lies that dichotomy that every Microsoft OS is broken for the first year that it's out.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, so free beta testing? Is that what you're... I've got a job that requires me to have an OS. I don't know, man. It's curious because they're integrating... They're trying some shit this time. They're trying a lot of new shit, like integration with the Xbox One to go back and forth, and actually not just like friendsless integration, but like streaming from your PC to your Xbox and back again, games and stuff.
I guess that matters for you.
Not really.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I'll buy like a rot gut version of. Maybe I'll just buy another hard drive and slap it in my PC and put Windows 10 on it. Just fucking whatever. But yeah, so there's that. Who knows? I don't know. I'm kind of curious. I kind of think that Microsoft might be. Again, I'm very curious to know about our viewership of like, is there anybody out there that thinks this is really a super good idea and you're super excited for the new Microsoft OS? Because
I mean, I think it's always kind of a joke with Microsoft. Microsoft is so big that people are going to use it. It is the preferred platform of businesses
right.
Across at least the U.S., if not most of the world. So they're still going to be okay, but they're just notorious for having problems with their initial releases of stuff. And, man, their last operating system was just so ugly.
Windows 8?
Yeah, it's just ugly.
Right there?
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah. Well, they did that whole we took the start menu away so that you can have this garbage tablet interface. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't need a garbage tablet interface. And then it's, you know what? It's like Microsoft keeps pulling the Coke Classic thing over and over and over again. Like, look, we put in all this brand new shit. You love it. And everyone's like, we hate it. And then they're like, well, too bad it's still there.
It kind of reminds me of like Facebook. You know how like you're using Facebook and then
it just changes
they'll change
arbitrarily.
up shit.
Yeah.
Except for Facebook admitted that they intentionally do that stuff to monitor how people react to it. So they're purposely fucking with us as like some social experiment.
I didn't read that. They said that they're just
Yeah. There's actually this really interesting Radio Lab about like how they will go into the metrics of every little detail of like how they'll change stuff, change little phrases, and they can get instantaneous data where it's like anyone who wants to research like these social experiments about people and how they react to certain things.
Yeah.
They can't get any of that sort of census data like on a campus. They get like 300 people, and you can get like 10,000 people in a minute on Facebook.
Wow.
Yeah, so they
That's pretty
constantly
incredible.
are able to just accumulate data on us.
Huh. All right, so this is we're almost done here. Basically, we've got just a slew of different. There's a couple announcements and a couple of pushbacks.
All
Mortal
right.
Kombat 10 for the Xbox 360 and the PS3 has been delayed. So,
Mortal Kombat X.
Yep.
NX.
Yep.
The year of the X.
PS4 and Xbox One versions are still coming out in April, but the 360 and PS3 versions have been shoved back because they're now the redheaded stepchildren of the video
who cares
game
about
industry. Homefront, The Revolution, the sequel that I don't think anybody really wanted to one of the least well-received games of all time, Homefront, has also been pushed back, but that has more to do with internal things where I think it was supposed to come out this year originally, but that was a studio that got absorbed into another studio, and then people got let go, and then it got reformed into a new studio, and so it's just one of those. Homefront, The Revolution got pushed back. Vince Zampella announced that Titanfall 2 is in development and that it is actually being developed cross-platform. So the first one was a PC, Xbox One exclusive for Microsoft. Next one's going to be developed cross-platform. I hope this time they just bother to put some goddamn story in because that game got boring real fast. Well, actually, you know what? I don't know, Grant, because Titanfall came out last year the same week that Dark Souls 2 came out. So I gave Jason Titanfall and said, now get the fuck out of my house. You and Brushwood go do whatever you do. I have a game to play. So, yeah.
It all comes down to Dark Souls.
What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Huh?
Stop playing it.
No, I'm not. Well, that was when it came out. It's my job. I mean, now, yeah, I should probably stop playing it, but, you know.
Because next week, Bloodborne's out.
Right. Your favorite company of all time, Square Enix, maker of fine JRPGs.
They make lovely games, and I love you, audience, and I agree with you on everything.
Actually, you know what? Most of the games that you have a problem with don't have anything to do with Square Enix, except for Kingdom Hearts. That was the only one. But that was the one where you got death threats or kicking the ball threats? Something like that. I don't know. Okay.
Sometimes our fans are whiny bitches more than me.
They announced that they're putting out another game this year, another JRPG. It's in development, should be out before the end of the year. No further details. I'm sure we'll hear more at E3. It can't be Kingdom Hearts 3. It can't be Final Fantasy 15. It can't be the expansion of Final Fantasy 14. I don't know what it's going to be. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. I wish they'd just go ahead and goddamn remake Final Fantasy 7 already because so that people shut up about it. And last but not least, the February NPD numbers came out, and I sometimes report on these and sometimes don't. I usually only report on them when there's no other news to have. But basically, in February, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask for the 3DS was the top-selling piece of software for the entire month. Coming in
nice
above Evolve, Dying Light, and then Call of Duty Advanced Warfare that was above GTA 5, which I find it interesting that Advanced Warfare came out last year in the holidays of last year, and GTA 5, this is...
Evolve was number 2?
Evolve was number 2, yeah.
So
that just that was your whole review for Evolve?
Evolve.
NBA 2K15 Dragon Ball Xenoverse, which Aaron and I played, was actually number 7 above Minecraft. This is one of the things I love about looking at the NPD numbers because it's Advanced Warfare, that's an older game, right?
Minecraft is still on the list.
Number 8. I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5 is 18 months old, and it's still in there. It's still in there at number 5, no less. And then... The Order 1886 came in at number 9, which guess what, folks? That means it made enough money it's probably going to get a sequel. Because if it came in 9th in total sales...
Is this one hated?
Yeah, it was it was a snoozer. And then Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, which means that's number 10. That means that 2 of the launch games for the new 3DS were in the top 10 best-selling things for February, which means that Nintendo's doing... In fact, there's actually even a little kind of I love it when companies get bitchy with each other, where Sony came out, because they had a good month in February as well. Actually, everybody had a good month. Xbox One's sold 85% more than they did the month before, something like that.
The gaming industry is good and healthy.
Yeah. But Sony came out with some kind of press release. They're like, yeah, bitches, number 1 in February. We sold all these PlayStations. We're the greatest. Woo! We sold the most consoles in all of February. And Nintendo was like, actually, we sold the most consoles in February. And then Sony was like, oh, I meant I meant the most like go under your TV. You don't take it with you on the bus. Like home consoles, not. Yeah.
You guys, you know what I meant, right? We're cool. We're cool.
No, it's all right. No, it's cool, man. But yeah, it was a big month, and I can't help but think that we might see even more this month because there's a shit ton of stuff that came out this month. It's coming out this month.
Remember that whole slump we had where you made me play a bunch of really interesting games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean
JRPGs.
summer?
Yeah, summer.
Yeah. Guess it's getting warmer outside, right?
No.
The warmer it gets, Grant, the fewer games come out.
Isn't John the new Grant? Doesn't he have to play that stuff?
Yes, but the secret, Grant, is that
Make Jason play it.
Jason has the ability to tell me he's a big movie star. He could just leave now, right? And say, I have to have lunch with Robert Downey Jr.
Well, then do a bait and switch with him a couple times. Oh, yeah, we'll totally play that cool game.
He just punches me in the balls when I do that, and it hurts my balls.
Do I actually have to start punching you in the balls to get out of this?
You know what? It's gonna be like the Dark Knight. You two are gonna come in. I'm gonna be like, somebody's played the new Final Fantasy game. Crack a pool cue, throw it on the table, and go. All right.
We both just kill ourselves. You have to play it by yourself.
You're like, I've tried not to expose you to as many of them as I did. There have been a whole bunch of shitty NIS, or I don't know if they're shitty, but there have been a whole bunch. There's one company that does. They must do gangbusters in Japan because they put out a shitload of JRPGs that, like last month, there were like 6, and we didn't mess with any of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just played Kingdom Hearts, and that was a classic. Quotey fingers.
Why can't we just not do JRPGs like we don't do sports games on here?
Because I like JRPGs, Grant. And we do play sports games, actually.
Not all the sports games.
From time to time. Anyway, but you know what? That's the end of our segment here. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to answer your questions, and we're going to answer them good and hard, Grant. So
oh, yeah, baby.
mail@ragesite.com is the email address, and we'll be back momentarily. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's time. Grant, it's time.
What's it time for?
It's time for the motherfucking question.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, there's that Davison the Shoe energy that we've been trying
That's
to
what we need, baby.
All right, welcome back.
Jeff.
KRAG, Davison the Shoe here, answering your question. Exactly.
Jeff, I got to tell you, though. We forgot to plug the thing that we plug way too much on this site.
Oh, is it the new meatloaf sandwich that I've got
meatloaf sandwiches.
Meatloafsandwich.com. I'm starting up a new business.
We might win an award at meatloafsandwich.com if you vote for us every day.
Yeah. If we get enough people to sign up for Arby's Club, we get free Big Montanas for a month.
All
right?
the horsey sauce we could bathe in.
All the horsey
rub
sauce.
all over our chesty
What do you
nips.
put on your Big Montana?
Ketchup with a little bit of sugar added in.
That's a crazy answer.
No?
That's a crazy thing to say.
Okay, I'm sorry. What do you put on it?
Wait for the podcast. Let's go to. Hold on. The horsey sauce and Arby's sauce mixed together into a creamy, delicious goo of like sweetness and horseradish. Podcast awards.
Podcast awards. PodcastAwards.com.
Yes.
Our voting still goes out until March 24th, and we don't want to lose steam on this. A lot of people won't be rally crying every day like us, and that's what's going to get us that win,
That's
man.
right. They're not willing to alienate their fans, destroy friendships, or throw everybody that they know under the bus.
They might find it's a little bit annoying to badger someone every single day.
They might
not
call
us.
it tacky, but not Davison the Shoe.
Yeah, it's not tacky because we're the classiest site on the internet.
That's what it says on the box. You know,
Why would we lie?
Yeah, we wouldn't lie to you guys. Come on.
Go to the gaming section and vote for us.
Yes.
While you're there, Beerus as well in the food. and
Beerus,
drink category.
yep. Night Attack, whoever, whatever, you know.
Movie spoiler cast.
spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get those guys as
In
well.
the movie category.
Yeah. Vote for them all. Vote for everybody.
Do it.
Just vote
Show
for
your love.
everybody in every category and confuse the shit out of the podcast.
By the
awards.
time this comes out, we only have 2 more days of the push.
Okay.
So just make sure you guys are voting every
Just
day.
sit, reach deep down for your third wind and just
baby. We need this.
Okay. All right. And with that, we're on to the questions. Mail at rageselect.com is the email address. And our first question comes in from Ivan Lopez, who says, "Hey guys, greetings from Bogota, Colombia."
Oh, awesome.
Woo! My question is simple. I've been watching Farscape. I'm just finishing season 1. What's up with that show? Does it get any good? Keep up the good work and take care. Ivan Lopez.
Now, you love Farscape, right?
I do love Farscape, but I'm going to be the first person out there to tell you that it's got the same problem as about 100 other TV shows of the first season is roll slow. It's okay the first season, but they do a lot of groundwork laying in season 1 that really starts to pay off in season 2.
Okay.
It's basically like they spent an entire season introducing you to the characters with these kind of middling subplots, and then in season 2 they start to harvest the chaff or whatever. I don't know. This metaphor has gone off the rails. Then it gets good in season 2. So what I'd say is
They
if you
swinkle the buckyborks, I think is the term.
Is that what they say?
That's the Farscape term.
That's they call it in the industry.
Yeah, they have buckyborks out there in Farscape land.
No, they don't. That's not a thing.
Oh, no?
No.
I've never seen it.
I will say, I mean, I've gone back and watched Farscape recently, and I will say that there's a lot of it that's sillier than I remember.
It's that Muppet aliens creatures, right? Isn't that the
You
one?
got a problem with Muppets? Is that what you're saying? Do you need to step outside?
It's
talk
it's
some
not
shit
going to
about-
lend to me believing it if one of the aliens looks like Rolf.
None of the aliens on that show look like Rolf the dog.
Looks like
None of them look like
HR
Rolf the dog.
Puff and stuff creatures.
None of them look like HR Puff and stuff. Not a single one of them has hair. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, I might be thinking of the wrong one, but I feel like it has some weird puppet creatures.
It does.
They're the aliens, and they look goofy.
I think for me that's never been a problem because the Muppets were real to me when I was a kid, and so my brain just when it sees puppets translates them into people for whatever reason.
I
But
have some bad news for you about the Muppets. Though.
let's not burst my childhood bubbles just yet. I've had enough bubbles burst today. I don't even know what that means.
Well, I wanted to ask Ivan a question, but I don't think it's a two-way street really on this
You can
podcast.
scream it into the microphone. I don't know.
But he's from Bogota, Colombia, and
Yes.
I was curious about like what it's like visiting there. If you would recommend it, if there's some cool places to go.
Okay.
It's just kind of one of those places I'd like to visit. I think some point.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Sure.
all.
All right. There you go.
So hey, if you listen to this, post in the comments. I'd like to know.
Give a question, get a question.
What's the
That's
haps?
take a question, leave a question.
I don't know if I can
That's-
live up to that with all the questions.
All right. This next one comes in from. We've got I always try when we set up the questions, Grant, to have like one quick and then one long and then one quick and then one long. So I think that we've got a pretty good grouping this week.
All right.
This one comes in from Russ, and Russ says, "Hey, lords and occasional ladies of rage." Is he talking to you with that, or is it me?
One of us is an occasional lady.
I am not.
I didn't know that they knew about that.
Yeah,
What we moonlight as.
Facebook profile is set to private, man. I don't know what you're talking about. Another question for you all related to video game story and the characters involved in them. Support characters and non-playable allies are usually in every game, be it a character speaking to you over a headset like in stealth games or a character you choose to bring along like in Mass Effect who fight alongside of you. Or just someone in a cutscene you know is related to the story but has no influence on gameplay whatsoever. My question is, how involved in gameplay do you like your side characters to be? Do you like maybe being the solo warrior going through a game, or one of a group fighting together, or even a support character following you but not fighting like in Bioshock Infinite? What is your preferred game style? Follow up, what traits do you love seeing and hate seeing in support characters personality-wise? P.S. Forget what they say, Jeff. It's always good to hear you bring up Dark Souls. That game is amazing. Praise the Dark Lord and his holy drunken weekends in his pantheon, Russ.
Bringing up Dark Souls again.
Oh, are we talking about Dark Souls now? Dark Souls, Dark Souls, Dark Souls.
I feel like we need that to be like our Pee Wee's Playhouse buzzword, and like everybody say it. There's just confetti. Oh boy. So side characters, or yeah.
What do you? I don't
Supporting
know. What do you
characters.
think?
I mean, it always depends on the game and like how well they're developed. I generally like them. I think it really informs the main protagonist. Oftentimes, when you're doing a game, I guess, just through the lens of the character, the supporting characters are kind of crucial to kind of informing who you are as the lead character and like how you interact with them. dictates whether or not. I mean, any personality traits that you have, it's nice to kind of play off of someone else.
Yeah, well, for me, I mean, I definitely like. I mean, obviously, every game has supporting characters, right? I mean, that's just like every movie. You don't see what's that Robert Redford movie where he's by himself at sea. I mean, most pieces of media have more than one character in them, right? But generally speaking, I don't like it when the characters are in the game with you. Because I feel like
if you're like running around the battlefield and they're there as well, going, "Hey, come over here!" But hey, look, check this out.
Right.
Shoot that guy.
Right.
Like, shut the fuck up.
Because it almost always breaks immersion. Like when you and I mean, we've been playing Mass Effect 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, okay, Garrus Vicarian is a sniper and he's a good soldier and he's like, he's a character in there. He's got a lot of characterization. He's got his likes and his dislikes and blah 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 blah. Right?
Yeah.
When he runs to the wrong side of cover and stands there getting shot by somebody because you're not telling him what to do, it's a very clear reminder that this is a goddamn video game. Or when you're playing The Last of Us and Ellie runs out and it's obvious that the monsters can't see her. She is invisible to the tracking of the monsters. Like there was a Penny Arcade comic, right, where she's banging cymbals and stuff and then your character like steps on a twig and the guy's like or whatever. So I feel like a lot of times when they try to add other characters into the game, a lot of times it breaks the game for me. I like in certain types like RPGs or turn-based games where you have control over everybody. That's fine because it means that mistakes that get made are made by me, right? It's not some AI. I agree. You just got done playing the Final Fantasy 15 demo, and you only control one guy. I don't know if that's going to change in the game, but you control one guy. And there's these other 3 guys that are your AI party, and they're about as good as I've seen with AI. They move pretty well. They make pretty decent decisions about who they're attacking, but they also have like these canned responses that they say that is like dialogue between them when you're just running through the world. And I was saying when we were playing it that I understand why developers do that. It's just that there comes a point where you've heard all those things and they start repeating themselves, and at that point...
It's really tiresome.
Well, at that point, it's not even that it becomes tiresome, it's that it breaks the immersion, is that you're now acutely aware that these are not entities, they're just... They're just programs, right?
Well, like the example, the Last of Us example you were giving, can you think of an example where you do have the supporting character going alongside you into some sort of battle like that, but they are appropriately kept out of the way or savvy enough that it isn't a problem that they accompany you on that quest?
I think probably the best that I've seen so far has been... probably the best example that I can think of that was like Resident Evil 4, where you had the president's daughter with you, Ashley or whatever, and you could like switch her or tell her like go and get in this area. That's the other problem, is that when you do have a character where you do have to manage them, where they're not like invincible, you always run the risk of it being just a pain in the ass, right? Because you're no longer dealing with just yourself. Now you've got to make sure that the dumb AI doesn't run directly into a bad guy and kill itself.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, I don't know. I guess probably the best examples of that I can think of are games where you have like a large number of people, like a war game, right? Where the other people, if they die, they're not crucial to the story. So if they die, it adds more to the flavor of the scene that you're in, right?
Sure.
As opposed to having to escort somebody through a certain piece of the game. I don't know. I generally don't care for it. I like to play lone wolf. I mean, I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes when you're playing online, like multiplayer with somebody else in a co-op game, that's great. Like Helldivers, right? That was great. But that's all other people, not AI.
I mean, I agree with all of those points that you just brought up about when they kind of accompany you on something. That's a little bit. But otherwise, I mean, I appreciate what you can do in the narrative with supporting characters.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I do. I agree. I mean, it's funny because I even think that with a little bit of tweaking, like I understand they did a very, very good job in The Last of Us of the AI of like the monsters and the other enemies and stuff like that. And so it often makes me wonder, like,
Uncharted, I was just thinking, is a pretty good one where it's like generally you always have a reason for Nathan Drake, to just kind of go off and leave everyone else. And it's like,
Right.
so you don't have to worry about them anymore. Like, you guys are kind of running along, and then it's like, oh, wait, I'm going to have to take this weird-ass passage, so I'm going to go around this cliff,
Right.
and you can't follow me. Or Sully's just like, oh, I fucked up, and I'm going to be trapped in here. I'll meet you around the other end.
Right.
And yet, at the same time, it's great having Sully in there.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's mostly just that there weren't that many. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, what I was saying with The Last of Us is that I wish that they had done just a little bit more to make Ellie. It doesn't seem to me like it would have been that much more difficult to make Ellie a character that the enemies can see and give you a very rudimentary, like, stick with me or go over there, or just a very, very small amount of that, right?
Yeah.
And then make her a character where if she runs out in front of a zombie, if you tell her, go, and she runs out there, the zombies will kill her, and then it's game over, right?
Make her a little bit more vulnerable.
Yeah. As far as what sort of supporting characters I like, man, I'm all about the smartass. I love the smartass supporting characters. Baird in the Gears of War franchise, he's a great one. I love when you have somebody on the other side of the radio who's just a total dickweed.
Yeah.
I don't know. You have any
I think of
particular...
GLaDOS. Or GLaDOS.
Oh, GLaDOS, yeah.
It's a great antagonist.
Yep.
Yeah. I like, if they can do it appropriately, comedic supporting characters.
Yeah.
Like Wheatley's another one from Portal.
Mm-hmm. It makes a great foil for if you
Yeah.
have a serious game, right?
Yeah.
Of having somebody to break the tension, which I feel like a lot of times people don't entirely understand. I mean, like, that was... I feel like that's one of the things that we love the most about, like, Han Solo, right? Is that when you look at episode 1, 2, and 3, it's like, what is this missing? Somebody like Han Solo who's just like, you're fucking, I don't believe in your space wizard cult, all right? I've got to get these drugs to the gangster on the gangster planet.
I'm a Toydarian.
Yeah, I don't know why he's a Toydarian, but somebody, you know, like in A New Hope, right, where he's like, say what you will about, you know, the hokey religions and ancient superstitions, but I want a good blaster. I'm like, I love a character like that. Who is taking the piss out, as Nick would say, of the gravity of the storyline so that you can have a little bit of levity in it, to know that it's not everybody in this universe is so serious all the time. All right, next up, this one comes in from B. Hammer, who says, hello, Jeff and Grant. I don't think it's a secret that our TVs are littered with characters who people like to describe as anti-heroes. We've had Tony Soprano, Walter White, Dexter Morgan, Vic Mackey. But what makes a character a hero? What makes a villain? What makes a character a villain? When does the anti come in? Where do you draw the line? Stay classy. B Hammer 100. I think it's facial hair, right? If they have facial hair.
Once they have an evil goatee,
right,
you know they're evil.
Yeah. Walter White, season 1, no goatee. Season 2, goatee.
The evil universe of Community, you can tell they all have goatees.
Star Trek, the evil mirror universe, Spock's got a goatee. Boom.
There you go.
You know, who else? What else are we talking about? Dexter Morgan? Well, he would just look weird with facial hair, right?
Yeah.
The beard or anything.
He had a beard in the last season, I think, though.
Did he? I stopped watching that show.
You're probably better off.
Yeah.
It kind of comes down to motivation, and Breaking Bad is kind of this great litmus test for where an individual views if someone can still be considered a hero or an anti-hero. And for some people, they could draw it on episode 1 when he kind of decides to cook meth. They're like, he's a bad guy all of a sudden.
Right.
Other people, it's like maybe when he killed his first dude, or maybe when he betrayed his best friend, or just kind of all these certain points. It was a great teller for where you kind of draw that line of if someone a hero or an anti-hero.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's, for me, it's mostly just you draw it at, it's what you're saying, but characterization, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, anytime that you've got just a mustache twirling bad guy, right? Like take the asshole who kills John Wick's dog, right? Like, they never show anything of him except he's a shit. He's either like bullying people, partying with naked women, or killing John Wick's dog.
He's just a douchebag.
He's just a solid douchebag. Whereas that same actor who plays
Theon Greyjoy.
Theon Greyjoy. And I know a lot of people who just straight up fucking hate Theon Greyjoy. I have a lot of pity for Theon Greyjoy because he's like, everybody on that show treats him like a dickweed. And the one time that he tries to do something, it fails so spectacularly that I'm just like, God damn, man. Like,
I mean, he was a prisoner. He was a slave essentially.
Yep.
His entire life, and it was thought that just because he was treated all right while a slave, that if he turned on his masters at Winterfell, that suddenly everyone just hates him because everyone loves the Starks. But it's like, he was in a shit situation.
Yeah, I mean, they treated him all right, but the nicest prison in the world is still a prison.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, Jaime Lannister's another great example of, like, can you take and introduce someone in probably some of the worst light, having him kill a kid or attempt to at least, and then try and in some way redeem him to where you're kind of rooting for him, and you have to question yourself because you're like, am I rooting for this guy? This is the same fucking guy who did that other shit. And that's what I love about George R.R. Martin, that he's like, characters are gray. They're not just black or white. They're not always evil. They're not always good.
Yeah,
they're complex, and he loves to show that.
I think that that's in the characters that he's listing here as just as anti-heroes. Right?
Yeah,
Tony Soprano, Walter White, Dexter Morgan. Who's Vic Mackey? Is that
Shield?
Shield? Okay, I'm sorry, I haven't seen the Shield. Is that the whole point of all of these is all these characters is that we get to know them and that they are not, you were just talking about The Flash before we started back up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched that much of The Flash, but I watched the first 4 episodes, and it was like, the good guys are really good, and there's something very likable about them, right?
Yeah.
But there's something I feel that is more attractive to us about characters who are complicated.
Yeah.
Who are bad, and you can understand why they're bad, and you don't necessarily have to agree with them being bad, but you could at least see why they're bad.
But you're invested in their story and their fate, and in a way, you kind of root for them.
Right.
In spite of yourself, because in real life, you probably wouldn't root for the bad guy doing this shit, but you kind of find yourself invested in the character.
It's to me, it's just depth of character.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like, because if you just write somebody one-dimensional, then they're garbage, or they're evil, or they're good, or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't see... It's alluded to in the Marvel movies, right, that Tony Stark has a drinking problem. I think it's alluded to, kind of, in the whole PTSD thing, but, I mean, he's always drinking in Iron Man 2, right? He gets drunk and he fucks up his party and he's sleeping in the donut and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But it would be different if there was an Iron Man movie where he was in the Iron Man suit like maybe 5 minutes at the beginning and like 10 minutes at the end, and in between it was like a drama where Tony Stark was wrestling with it, like Flight, right? If it was like it started and he's in the Iron Man suit and it's like the movie Flight and he does something incredible, but he's also incredibly self-destructive. The Avengers won't talk to him anymore.
He's flying and he saves like all these people in a plane,
right?
But he also runs over a kid in his suit,
right,
on the way there, and he was drunk.
That's not a move. That's not the Avengers movie that any of us want to see.
No,
because that's not really the tone. But that I feel would make that character have more depth, right? I guess. You know what? I'm sorry. That was a bad example. But what's a good example is Loki in the Marvel Universe. Everybody loves Loki more than just about anybody else, right?
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons for that is because we've seen why Loki is Loki, and we've seen...
Because he's Theon Greyjoy.
Yeah.
He was kidnapped.
He's kind of Theon Greyjoy. Sort of. Yeah. And I think that's why people like him, right? Is because we have more insight into why he does what he does.
Yeah.
He can still be a bastard, but we kind of know why he's a bastard. And I feel like that is almost more relatable. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that having a character who's human is more relatable than like I like Captain America more than Loki. Like, if I want to hang out with somebody, I probably want to hang out with Captain America.
Yeah.
But I think that Loki is a deeper character just because of the amount that
because you can identify. Yeah.
Right. Because we've all had disappointments and taken maybe the slightly more dickish path from time to time.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to say, it's because he seems more human, but he's an alien, dude.
Right.
He's a frost giant.
It's a frost giant. Yeah. I was thinking, there's people out there that I see from time to time. They're like, look, he's a whiny bitch. Get over it. I'm like, get over it. He was sequestered and lied to. As far as I'm concerned, Odin, like, he didn't handle that shit right, man. Like,
Odin's a dick.
He should have told that dude a long time ago. Hey, we need to have a talk. You're a fucking frost giant, and I love you, but you're a frost giant, right? Like, before it becomes a thing, especially because he's got. Anyway.
That was a fun question, though. Thanks, Bama.
Our next one comes in from Diego, who says, "Dear Jeff and Grant, praise to the dong, the whole dong, and nothing but the dong." That's pretty good. If you could spin off any character from a TV show or a movie into its own thing, who and what would it be? And the catch is that you would also have to replace the actor. Oh, interesting. So who would play the role? My answer would obviously be Littlefinger from Game of Thrones escapes Westeros and travels to the shores of Jersey, where he will sit on his throne as the king of the rental chairs on the beach, played by Joe Pesci. Wow, that is weird.
That is
so bizarre.
That is such the obvious choice.
Yeah. Take care and keep it classy. Good luck with the awards, Diego, the Chilean Swede. Does that mean that he's a character on the Jersey Shore? Joe Pesci is playing Littlefinger on the Jersey Shore, and everybody has to. It's a reality show, but when they try to call him Mr. Pesci, he's like, "My name is Littlefinger. Fuck off. You want a chair?"
No, but that's a great Joe Pesci impersonation, Jeff.
Yeah, I know. Thanks.
You nailed it.
I've been working on it for a long time.
Keep working.
I think they should spin that Saul guy out of Breaking Bad.
Dude,
show.
Can you believe how good that show is?
It's really good.
Every episode.
I'd forgotten about this phenomena. I call it the Breaking Bad letdown.
Oh yeah.
When this is coming out, the week before last show was so good that last week's show was good. I didn't think it was quite as good as the one before it, but that's like one of those things where you're like, this caviar is slightly not as good as the previous caviar that I was eating. Take it away and bring me more Mike Ehrmantraut.
2 weeks ago's Mike Ehrmantraut episode was beautiful.
Yeah, it was. Anyway, you spin off a character from a TV show. It's a TV show or a movie into their own spin-off.
Or a movie.
I think that Wolverine guy you might be able to get at least 2 bad movies out of that guy. But
I don't know. I mean, this is it's interesting because he has that caveat of you don't get to have the same actor.
Dude, I'm going to totally fuck his question up.
Oh yeah?
The Adventures of Young Darth Vader. Switch the actor. I don't care. Just get somebody who sounds like James Earl Jones. It doesn't have to be James Earl Jones.
Okay.
Put somebody else in the suit. Does the suit actor count? Is that who it is? Just put somebody else in the Darth Vader suit.
David Prowse?
I'd love to see Darth Vader's early career in the Empire, right? Like rolling around, maybe cleaning up a few of the
We might
Jedi
be getting
things.
some of that stuff.
Maybe.
They're making that Rebel One spin-off movie.
Yep. I'll think of another one.
Lost is an easy go-to show for me, and I know, roll your eyes. But I feel like there's more that could have been explored with the Benjamin Linus character, played by Michael Emerson. However, that character is so tied to that actor that I'm like, who else could I possibly get to fill those shoes and be so creepy and fascinating and compelling? I don't know. That's tough.
See, I think that my favorite characters are so innately tied to their actor that I keep feeling the need to cheat and go, you take this actor, do a prequel where they're younger so you can cast somebody else. Like, I wouldn't, like so many of my favorite characters from TV shows, it's like I don't want to take them and then put somebody else in there because the actor is like half the reason that I like that character.
I'll take Paul Dano and put him in the role of
Benjamin. Paul Dano.
He's an actor. He's in like There Will Be Blood.
Okay.
And some other stuff.
I don't know why I'm asking. I'm looking at you like you could tell me. I've got the entire internet right up in front of me.
He's an actor. You've seen him.
Probably. The name sounds really familiar. I just don't know anybody anymore. I've stopped remembering who
I think he's really good. He's got a little bit of a nerdy look.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you could take Benjamin Linus and make him
a younger Benjamin Linus.
Paul
like
Dano.
his teenage to 20s years. Yeah.
Trying to think.
What other shows? I mean, I kind of just gravitate toward TV, but I guess I could look at some movies.
Trying to think of. I was thinking for a moment there, trying to think of shows that I really like, and so I landed on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And
I
I'm
know.
Like,
and
okay,
like, you want to see cricket?
so here's a question. If you could take any one character, I'm going to take away his caveat. If you take any one character from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, spin them off into their own show by themselves with a new cast of characters, who would it be?
It'd be cricket.
Rickety Cricket?
Rickety cricket.
I'm like, I almost want to see Danny DeVito do the Frank business years.
Who would be a younger him? Like Josh Gad or someone?
I have no idea. I don't know who you cast as the young Danny DeVito.
Josh Gad could do it. I've been seeing those promos with him and Billy Crystal that are coming up on FX for the comedians.
Okay.
It looks kind of interesting. But he's got this kind of slimy quality to him that I'm like, all right.
Oh, he was in that dumb Pixels movie.
He's in Pixels,
He was one of the guys in that dumb Pixels movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if he has. I mean, I don't know. It's like Danny DeVito is such a presence. I mean, I don't know if he
someone
could.
small. Too.
He's got to be able to do the Danny DeVito thing, right?
Yeah.
Let me think of another. I mean, Star Wars is so easy. You could spin off so many people from Star Wars. Boba Fett's his own, young Han Solo and Chewie. I mean, like I think if I don't know
Greedo
if
and he was running that discoteca
right
for
exactly.
a few years before he
implying that Greedo is Latino Greedo.
Is he not?
I don't. He wasn't speaking Spanish in the movie. You know that,
I thought
right?
he goes by El Greedo.
El Greedo. I mean, there's actually a whole thing. It'd be kind of a young Indiana Jones Adventures thing, right? But like, at least before they decided to delete all of it, I'm pretty sure that in the extended universe, goddamn, Jason could answer this, that Han Solo was in Imperial Flight Academy before he went off to be a smuggler. He trained to be a pilot in the Empire.
Man, you got such a boner for Harrison Ford today.
I do. I don't know
Would
why.
you listen to a cracked podcast about him?
Oh, shit, I did.
Yep, that's why.
Damn.
Which, by the way, fuck that episode.
Yeah, it was. They've been real off recently.
I feel like sometimes they're just so dogmatic to their whatever gimmick that they're gonna argue the case against like even Harrison Ford. They're trying to like talk trash about Harrison Ford, and I was just like, I don't get you guys.
I feel like they've run out of ideas, honestly. Is that they had like themes for their shows, and they seem to be re-examining other things.
They're just taking an article that's on their site and being like, let's talk about this further on the podcast now.
And I realized after listening to the Crack podcast for a year, I don't want to listen to Crack podcast. I want to listen to the Jason Pargin podcast.
Yeah.
I just want that guy to come on the mic and talk. Because the
Or
last...
Jason Murphy podcast.
Yeah. Jason and Jason. We'll get Jason Murphy and Jason Pargin to do a podcast together. I've always thought of Kevin as our Jason Pargin around here. But like 2 podcasts ago, I'm sorry, we'll go back to the question in just a second, but 2 podcasts ago where they were talking about something really interesting about perception and reality and stuff, and it's like Jack O'Brien didn't used to fucking run his mouth as much about on that. They used to just kind of shut up and let Pargin do his thing, and now it's like he just feels the need to talk all the time, and I'm just like...
He's gotten power hungry.
Yeah. I literally go back and listen to some of the old ones, and it's like he'll just shut up and let Pargin just rattle on for 20 minutes straight. And I'm like, God damn it. Anyway,
we could probably go on forever on this question.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun fantasy casting and all, but I don't know.
Okay. All right, our next one comes in from Thwack. Thwack says, Dear Jeff and Grant, do you think gaming's lack of sexuality is hurting its advancement as a medium? What I mean by sexuality is the concept of relationships or sex being a key component of stories or of the psychological profile of characters in stories. For example, sexuality is a core concept in books such as The Scarlet Letter and Brave New World, and in movies such as Midnight Cowboy and American Beauty. However, games generally do not focus on the concept of sexuality outside of various shots of tits and ass, or in State of Decay's case, dongs, but instead focus more on conflict that arises through violence. Even when most games try to talk about sexuality, it usually is just a dialogue tree with sex as a reward at the end. This is not to say that all games are like this. Games such as Catherine and I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream had characters and stories that dealt with these themes, but outside of those 2 games, nothing else has approached the subject at hand. That's not actually very true, Thwack, but I'll we get back into that. Is gaming doomed to be all about competition and violence? Will AAA gaming be willing to take more risks and make more introspective games, or will this all lead to a shitty indie game that tries to talk about the concept but fails spectacularly? There have actually been several of those as well. Sincerely, Thwack. What you think, Grant?
I think that's actually a pretty interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's probably actually been some smaller games, some indie games that do appropriately explore some of these areas, these more mature takes, I guess, on sexuality rather than just kind of reducing it to a little bit more baser instincts.
You're talking about that "How do you do it" game, right?
Yeah, this is how you do it.
No, it's the one where the little girl bumps the Barbie dolls together.
Just bumping them. But I would like to see a little bit more mature take on these. Sure, if done appropriately.
I think that the major stumbling block that you're going to see is not necessarily like, I think that you've got a bit of a format issue in that the most direct way to represent interaction with the world in the way that we have built our culture around video games is through violence, right? So you imagine the movies or the letters that what he's talking about, like Brave New World, Scarlet Letter, American Beauty. And you say, how do you gamify American Beauty? How do you make an internal exploration of a character into something? Because I feel like a lot of games are built around a rush that you get from achieving a thing, right? They're kind of based on not like commando action, but like action, just movement and physicality and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
More so than, I mean, you see stuff like The Walking Dead, right, or Game of Thrones that have more emphasis on dialogue, but I don't know. I mean, so much of the time it's so.
I mean, would you
subjective.
think that maybe that and it's still a little bit basic, but in the Sims sense, that they do kind of focus on a little bit more of this construction of relationships, of long-time companionship, of finding people and growing old together, of parting ways, of kind of those deeper themes. It's certainly, a simplified version of it.
Sure.
But it doesn't shy away from it. It does kind of explore it
Absolutely.
in a very fascinating way, I think.
Absolutely. I think it's an interesting way to look at it. It's also, I mean, as far as the Sims case goes, it's just one particular section. Like,
Yeah, it's a component.
I have a really hard time trying to. I mean, like, I think that, not to keep going back to the same thing, but like, I think that when you're talking about the relationships between different people,
Mm-hmm.
that there are actually quite a few games that have been getting more sophisticated with that. Things like The Last of Us. Like, The Last of Us, outside of the shooting and throwing a brick at it parts, was a very complicated story about the relationship between Joel and Ellie that went over. Or even in, I mean, they're not the be-all and end-all, but Mass Effect has relationship stuff where it's like you have to kind of get to know the character, and you have to kind of... Or Dragon Age was the same way, where you've got to talk to a character and kind of get to know them. There's also a shitload, and I don't know... I can't make a judgment, so I don't know whether they are facile or they're not, but I know that dating game, right, is a whole genre in Japan.
Sure.
Of, like, finding a character, talking to that character, taking them out on a date, making a connection with that character, and then usually there's some kind of sexual component at the end. I think that it's not as viscerally enticing as a lot of the sorts of games that we expect, right?
I mean, the video games are still constantly evolving. I think people are targeting and creating new and interesting ways to kind of engage in your video games constantly. You see it every year.
Yep.
Something that you're like, oh, wow, that's a new approach that I didn't really think they could really achieve, and I, how do you think that you could market that? And they keep surprising us. So I would anticipate that you can have these issues a little bit more integrated into there. You can have things a little bit heavier, deeper, and more charged. Mm-hmm. We always go back to The Last of Us as showing such emotional depth, weight of story, relationships between the characters, the dynamics, the evolving relationship,
Sure.
and how that is able to blend such a mature approach to storytelling with a fun and immersive gameplay. And I think that certainly gives hope to this idea that they could tackle those other types of relationship issues.
I mean, it's also one of those things. It's one of those things. I think that a lot of people discount or don't see. It depends on your. Okay, let me put this together in an actual sentence, Grant, as opposed to just muttering words into the mic. A lot of people don't look at the evolution of video game storytelling over the last 20 to 25 years and see how sophisticated it is now compared to what it was before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're talking like, again, this is one of those things that's it's sometimes important to emphasize. The storytelling of film, right, evolved over time from very basic stories to much more sophisticated stories, sophisticated forms of telling stories, of stylization and things like that. And I don't think that in the time that we've been looking at video games, I think they've evolved incredibly in a very short amount of time.
Even in just the past 5-10 years, there's been such advancements and opening up the ability for even the average Joe layman to have access to tools in order to make their own types of games.
Yep.
Is making it much more fascinating and competitive.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, Thwack, I would say that, I mean, if that's the sort of game that you're looking for, I'm pretty sure there's I need to rack my brain to find stuff, but the thing is that if you go into the indie games, you'll see a lot more stuff like that. You'll see a lot more tackling of
Telltale games. Some of those have kind of had exploration of like your relationships with other people, just in political and sexual relationships. There's sort of this dynamic of how you have to interact with people that, based on how you respond to them, they remember that. It kind of becomes an increasingly complex relationship, and those are kind of stepping their foot into that as well.
Yeah. It's also worth noting, of course, that again, like we've talked about, you and I have talked about at length, that it's also, though, very easy for people to just use sex as a shorthand to attempt to make things more dramatic than they are.
Yes.
And so that the thing is that you're probably never going to see the other thing that I was thinking when I was reading your question is that the works that you're describing are about sex and sexuality and they focus on that. So like if you want to see ninjas, you don't watch American Beauty, right? If you're in the mood for
you watch Three Ninjas.
That's right, or Three Ninjas Strike Back, or Surf Ninjas Must Die, or whatever.
Air Bud versus the Ninjas.
Air Bud versus the Ninjas, or Wolf Cop. I mean, I heard, I know. But the simple fact of the matter is that you also have to ask yourself whether the interactivity in a video game is an art form that people. What I'm trying to say is that when you're watching an exploration of sexuality on the screen, you're a passive observer to it. Putting you into a thing that makes you interact with sexuality that may be different than yours, I can see where that could be off-putting to a lot of people. Especially if they're.
But I definitely, I disagree with you that I feel like you think it's unlikely. I think it's very likely and very imminent. I think we are seeing interactivity in games just advancing so quickly, and it's the next bastion for, I think, very intellectual and literary masterpieces to kind of start popping up, because you're able to offer this real life engagement with masterful storytelling, and I think we're just waiting for that next visionary to kind of really realize that. I don't think it'll happen.
I guess that the movies and works that he's talking about, I don't see many things like, I don't watch very many movies or read many books like that at this point. So I don't know. I guess they're still out there. Anyway, I think we've kind of covered a lot of that. So. All right, this next one comes in from Illegal Swede, who says, "Hello, Jeff and Grant. I have a quick question for y'all. Why in this day and age do we still have staggered release dates? With the ability to digitally release games and movies, why do you think we still see parts of the world receiving them later than others? Thanks again, guys, and may the Dong Lord shower you with his fertile lovin'. Your humble fan, Illegal Swede." Greed,
politics. There's a lot of business dealings that go on with distribution in certain areas.
Yeah.
We were kind of discussing this a little bit on TV Dudes the other week, but Game of Thrones this next season, which is I think it debuts April 11th, I guess, or it's the 5th. I don't remember.
Okay.
Anyway, next month. That's going to be one of the first times like it's internationally released all at the same time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
So like if you live in New Zealand, you get to watch it at like 4 a.m. when it comes out, but it's all released at the same time.
Yeah, personally, I mean, I think that staggered release dates are horseshit, and they don't affect me as much in America, except when like something like Sherlock would be on, or it used to be that Doctor Who would have a big time delay, and I'd be like, being perfectly frank about this, I'm like, if I will buy it for $3 if you give me the ability to, but if you don't, let's just say I'm going to watch Sherlock and Doctor Who the day that they come out. I'm not waiting for Luther. I'm not waiting for you guys to be like, well, we have this distribution deal, so it's going to take about 5 days to get it on to iTunes. Go fuck yourself.
With films, I think that it's still there's this kind of older model of risk management and marketing that you kind of want to do a test market case when you do your release in the U.S., see how it's performing so you know you're not just wasting all your money doing an international release. You kind of want to gauge each market and how you should appropriately release a film.
Yeah.
Now that it's moving more toward digital, I would imagine that they're getting closer to being comfortable just kind of releasing it worldwide. But still, I think there's risk management.
I mean, I guess at some point there's maybe the question of like localization. Like, I mean, I know that there's been plenty of examples of games that came out in Japan and they were, especially JRPGs. You have like a 30-hour JRPG that has to be
translated.
You have to have all the dialogue
repackaged, remarketed,
and all that stuff. So that all the company was trying to do was put it out in the region that they're in, and then in order to put it out internationally, it's like you have to go through this process of basically not totally remaking it, but at least making it accessible to the people in that particular region. So, and
maybe seeing how it performs beforehand.
Yeah,
like it was with Harry Potter. They released the Philosopher's Stone was the first book, and then once it comes over here to the U.S., they're like, oh, we need to change that word philosopher to sorcerer
because we don't know what philosophers are.
We wouldn't compare. We wouldn't say a philosopher is a sorcerer.
Grant, what's a philosophizer stone? I don't know what that is.
A philosopher? I think that's one of those just wasted degrees you get in college.
Is that a liberal? Oh shit!
Philosophy slam.
Philosophy slams now. All right,
they're going to be debating that for months. What I just said.
I'm gonna throw down 2 more questions because I'm kind of. It's all wearing off. I'm getting ready to pass out.
I noticed.
Like, oof.
You're looking droopy, Doug.
I am. This next one comes in from Ken. He says, hey, guys, have you ever succumbed to the rage quit? If so, what was your most epic rage quitting? For me, I was playing Battletoads on the original NES with my cousins. After failing over and over again at the racing level, I threw the controller, yanking the system off the shelf and causing it to smash into the ground and crack open the casing. It was over 20 years old, and I still hear about it on family occasions. Thanks for reading my question. Keep raging, Ken.
Battletoads, fuck yes. That racing level was such a son of a bitch until I got my Game Genie.
Yeah.
And then that shit was on. It was great. I can move over to level 6, which is that Worms one. That's like the best level.
That was level.
Yeah, I remember taking the controller and just slamming it repeatedly into the ground.
For what?
I don't think I broke it. I feel like it was probably Battletoads. It was one of those NES games. I mean, what are some of those other ones that are so frustrating?
I'll flip my controller. So I'll be playing, and I'm going to demonstrate for Grant. I'll be playing a game, and it'll piss me off to the point I'll just be like, What do you want? I just flip it out
yeah.
of my hands, and I start talking to the game, and I'll say, what fucker, fuck you. Just go fuck yourself. And then I'll just stand up and leave. And then if my dog hears me do that, he will come up to help me. He will, like if I'm standing anywhere near him, he will sidle up real close to me.
He'll come deliver you your chill pill.
That's right.
I feel like when I'm kind of playing with you, I get sometimes anxious, like Jimmy legs.
The Jimmy legs, yeah.
Yeah, and I just kind of get like super like intense, and sometimes I get a little frustrated with it.
Mm-hmm.
So my legs just go spastic, and then I go,
Yeah.
Jeff, you take the controller.
Yeah.
I can't do this. I'm just dying a lot.
There were a couple times, I mean, I think the most recent example is there was a couple times towards the end of Hotline Miami 2 where they had some levels that were rough. They were very difficult to the point where I had to turn the game off, put it down. But for me, I play so many games that I've never been a big rage quitter, because if you rage quit, that means the game wins. And the game's my bitch, so you got to keep playing until you get to the end.
You don't rage quit. You select rage.
That's right. I select rage.
You choose rage.
I hit the select button, and the rage comes up.
Hey, that's the name of the website, Jeff.
That's yeah. But I can't think of any. I don't really do it that much, but I do it from time to time. Anytime that I'm trying to review a game or any game that I'm playing for the show, that I'm not just like going back and playing for fun or whatever, which I don't really do that much anymore. If I come to a section that it's hard to get past, I start to get more frustrated more quickly than I used to, because I'm like, I've got to beat this game. There's another game coming out next week. Like, come the fuck on, you guys. Like, what are you doing?
There's some stuff near the end of like God of War where I remember just being like, God damn it!
Yeah.
And I just have to pause and just like go walk outside and breathe and kind of like, all right, calm down.
Actually, I was just playing. They added some new content into Dark Souls 2, and it was garbage. It was a boss that was just
Dark Souls 2. You played that game?
Yeah, once or twice. Into the very end of the game, after you beat the final boss, there's another new boss in the game, and beating that boss is not fun or challenging. It's just repetitive, because you just have to roll around until you get a chance to hit it one time. And I was just like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, there's a bit of frustration when we were playing Azura's Wrath, I remember, too. Some of the end characters.
Ooh, yeah.
battles.
Yeah, actually, that's true. That's very true. Asura's Wrath. Yep.
At one point here, I was like, all right, you just talk. I need to focus on this. I'm like, oh, shit.
Well, that's the thing.
White knuckle in it.
We do the Let's Plays, and it's like I'm always playing with like half a brain. And then
Yeah.
sometimes the game will step up its difficulty to the point where I'm like, I need my whole brain for this.
Yeah. Great, just blather on about, I don't know.
Whatever you got. All right, one more, and then we're done here. Hello, worshippers of the Rage Select Pantheon.
The answer is yes. All right, good night, everyone.
Recently, Auburn University decided to name a fish after Star Wars bounty hunter Greedo, which made me think of you guys. My question is, if Rage Select was given the chance to be named after an animal, for example, Rage Selectius Maximus, what animal would it be and why? Thanks. Continue to rage on. Composite Who Horrible. What do you think?
Composite Who Horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. I haven't heard from that guy in a while.
What kind of animal?
It'd be a gerbil. And I don't want to tell you guys why. Don't worry about it.
Giant flightless bird.
Yeah, like an emu or some shit.
Yeah, like some kind of new species of just really aggressive flightless bird. This is completely ridiculous and lethal. Like the cassowaries, right? These motherfuckers can like cut through metal with their claws, and they're incredibly aggressive.
All right.
Terrifying.
I like this idea of a giant flightless bird being the mascot of Rage Select.
Yeah. They're like T-Rexes, man. That's like what they are. In fact, when you look at a cassowary, you think of dinosaurs with feathers. You can kind of start to put it together.
Yeah.
Those motherfuckers are fast as hell.
Well, there you go. That's our mascot.
There you go. Or maybe like a manta ray. I don't know.
Manta ray.
Something. Did you see those giant walking sticks that they found on that island?
No.
Oh, my God. They were huge. They were like this big, like fat walking sticks that had basically got brought onto this island by a bunch of sailors that got shipwrecked there, and then they've been on there with no predators for years, just
getting bigger
huger and huger and huger.
This is how the bugs take over and kill us.
No, dude, they're just bugs. They can't reason. We can trap them in lava. We just stand on the other side of the lava and go, "Hey, bugs!" and then they'll just walk into the lava.
Hey, what, is there someone over there I should kill with
That's
my
also
stick powers?
Isn't that the perfect zombie removal plan? Right? You just build a big ditch and fill it with lava, and then just go, "Hey, zombies!" and they'll just keep walking on the lava and dying.
Yeah, I don't know why they make it so complex in Walking Dead.
Or like a trough with a bunch of liquid metal in it that you just heat up every day, and then it's molten steel, and then you're just like, "Hey!" and then you don't even have to dispose of the bodies. They'll just step into the steel. They'll burn like the T100, the T1000, and just each one of them will give the thumbs up, and then.
Wow, this zombie apocalypse was really easy to handle.
Or my personal favorite,
dumb.
if you don't have access to a giant ditch full of molten steel, a big hole in the ground that the zombies fall into, and then you just hose them down with gasoline and set them on fire at the end of every day, and then you just shovel out the hole and go get some more zombies, and then you put them in the hole. I mean, a moat would work, right?
Basically, we need a moat.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't understand how humanity... I'm sorry, I'm going on to my
Jeff,
we
need to build a moat out in your front yard.
I gotta stop. Anyway, folks, thank you for listening. I'm sorry, a little punchy here towards the end. mail@rageselect.com is the email address. If you'd like to send in your questions, we record usually around Wednesdays or Thursdays. So I recommend if you want to get your question answered, send it in as soon as humanly possible. Don't hold off until later. Yeah. Grant, thank you so much for coming on.
Jeff, thanks for having me.
You could find Grant at the Beerist and the TV Dudes, and where else? You're CEO.
I'm at home. You guys can just drop by my house if you guys want to see me. The Grant Davis page on Facebook, Baron Von Grant on Twitter.
Okay.
Go vote for those podcast awards.
All right, and thanks for listening. I'm now going to drop the microphone and immediately fall asleep.